Mission statement. Disclaimer. Our movement doesn't encourage suicide and will not be providing methods. We believe this right should be carried out by professionals who are willing to directly administer peaceful euthanasia drugs to their clients. Furthermore, our movement doesn't oppose seeking therapy, medication, hospice, or pain management as a means of coping with existence. However, we stand in opposition to the authoritarian pro-life agenda that our current psychiatric and medical communities adhere to. The right to no longer exist. The dawn of a new civil rights movement. We are a global human rights group dedicated to fighting for the right to no longer exist, right to die for those who find life undesirable. We stand against discrimination, therefore, we believe this right should be universal for all, not circumstantial for some. This includes individuals who are suffering mentally, physically, or psychologically, have a terminal illness, or take the position that life is intrinsically negative and prefer euthanasia over the risk of being catastrophically harmed in the future. Our main objectives include spreading awareness on this issue through communication and education, normalizing the conversation on a global scale without fear of repercussions, exposing the logical fallacies of those who oppose the right to die, reaching out to organizations that will most likely support our cause, encouraging the future liberalization of current right to die laws, creating regional legislative initiative for complete legalization with safeguards in mind, adding the right to no longer exist to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, reaching out. When discussing the topic, it is vital that we bring the pro-choice community into the conversation. We cannot afford to ignore the parallels between abortion and euthanasia rights. Both are my body, my choice principles. Favoring one but not the others, hypocritical and logically inconsistent. Therefore, we should be neutral allies. In place that still prohibit abortion, those who wish to terminate their own pregnancies must undergo dangerous procedures in hopes of success. Each year, millions of women die or suffer from severe complications globally as a result. These victims are not evil or insane, but justifiably desperate because they live in a world that doesn't respect their right to self-determination. The same sense of justifiable desperation is felt by those who wish to terminate their own existence, a life that was imposed. Unfortunately, even secular progressives who claim to care their touch for civil liberties refuse to vouch for these people unless they are near death. This is the equivalent of religious conservatives permitting abortion in cases of rape, incest, or to say the mother's life. Whose life is it anyway? Our society allows for procreation without question or vetting. Yet if somebody wants to die, they are persecuted for their desires. We believe that procreation without the guaranteed right to no longer exist is unethical, since nobody elected to be here, forcing anyone to remain cruel and unjustifiable. The harms of prevention. Despite the increase in suicide awareness, prevention efforts, and psychiatric treatments, the suicide rate is continuing to rise without the rational option of euthanasia. Those who want to end their lives have no choice but to exit in agony using violent means. Furthermore, those who discover their bodies and the workers who must clean up the mess will be traumatized. Even so-called guaranteed methods are not fail-safe. Too many have been left alive with damaged brains, blown-out faces, and mangled bodies, all because the burden of being sentient was too much for them to handle. Even if these victims begged for death after an attempt, our society would still deny them the graceful exit they deserve. If we had the right to no longer exist, such tragedies be far less likely to occur. There's even a possibility that many in this line or possibly euthanasia if offered for some. All they need is the comfort and sense of control provided by knowing the options available. In conclusion, our movement is about compassion, validation, and the right to self-determination. There are no objective philosophical arguments that support the theory that voluntary euthanasia is wrong. This is evident by the fact that preventionists depend heavily on "it gets better" top platitudes without context or critical thought. We believe that to respect life is to respect their person's wishes, even if it is to die. For someone else's subjective views in life should not negate the rights of others. Everyone has their limits, and those limits should be respected. After all, a life cannot be saved, only prolonged till the inevitable endgame of death. The fact alone should get any rational-minded individual to at least think about supporting this cause. We'll look forward to hearing any feedback you might have as we seek to enlarge the definition of human rights.